Hello, how are we all tonight? So I am jumping on to show you tonight how to make the marble cake. So in Greeks usually call it Mavro Kai Aspro, which means black and white, obviously because of the marble effect that you get. So I want to show you it. It's a free recipe on the blog. It is such an easy recipe. It's a pretty special recipe. It's one that we used to make when we used to have visitors coming over as kids. So mum would make it and we weren't allowed to touch it until the visitors came over. So I'm excited to show it to you because it's just it cooking in the oven, and the smell that it brings into the house reminds me of my childhood. So I'm hoping that it might trigger some memories for you as well, or maybe create some new ones that you can make with your children as well. So I'll just show you the cake. So I've already made one just to show you what it looks like in the end. So this is the half cake now, just so I can show you the marble effect. So you can see it there. I'll just move this forward so I'm not going to get cut off by the internet. So you can see it's beautiful effect there. And this is really easy to create different ways of creating the marble effect, which I'm going to show you how to do because that's where most people get a little bit confused. But it's really, really easy to do and such a quick and easy cake. So I can't wait to show you this. Let me show you it on the website. So Mavro Kai Aspro means black and white cake. So Mavro means black and Aspro means white. There's the Greek words for you. There you go. A little bit of Greek learning for you there as well. And then you can see here the different effect. It's so easy to get different types of effects of how you like the marbling to occur. And sometimes it's really just the luck of the draw of how you marble it. So free recipe on the blog. Check it out. The link's in the description. And of course, if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to comment. Let's get cooking. Let me show you how to do this now. Now this is really like just throw it in the bowl and blend it a few times. It's as easy as that. To get started, I'm just going to get my recipe out so I can tell you the quantities as well. So we start with some soft butter. Now it's very important you use soft butter because if you don't, the blending times will be very different and you might need to blend it a little bit more. Now if your butter is not soft, put it on for about maybe 3 minutes on 50 degrees, maybe speed 2, and just do that step first when you put it into your Thermomix so that the butter is a little bit softened. Otherwise it's going to be too hard, and mine's just been sitting out so it's a bit soft. So I'll add all that in. And then we're literally adding everything else. So let me tell you the quantities. We've got 300 grams of soft butter. Then you've got 400 grams of sugar. So I'm just using white sugar. Nothing too special. 500 grams of self-raising flour. Get this one here so I don't spill it everywhere. And then we've got 4 eggs. There's our 4 eggs. And then I've got the you gotta come with me for a second because I gotta grab my milk. I kept it in the fridge because I had to prep all this for you guys. Let's do this. Juggle, juggle, juggle. I think you're used to me juggling by now, aren't you? All right, so I just got 165 grams of milk and a little bit of vanilla essence. Or you can use vanilla powder or anything, it won't make a difference. They all work. So now blend for 30 seconds on speed 5. So while that's blending, that only takes 30 seconds, and then I'm going to scrape it down, and then I'm going to blend it for another minute, and then the white bit is done. Then what I'm going to do is put most of that white mixture into this pan, okay? So I use a bundt pan just because it's how we always remember this recipe, and I don't know, it's just, I like that tradition, and keeping the recipes pretty special, so it reminds me of how we used to have it as kids. But yeah, I've greased the bundt pan, so you can spray it, you can butter it, whatever you prefer to do. And let me just show you this. So you can see that there, it just needs to be scraped down, so if any air pocket, see how that air pocket popped? That's just why we need to scrape it down a little bit. Let's see if I can do this while I'm holding it here, making a mess one-handed. And then I'm going to blend it for another minute. Okay. Let me flip this back over and turn this on for another minute. And it turns out so beautiful. So speed 5 again, 1 minute. Okay. And like I said, once that's done, that's when we're going to add all that white mixture into that bundt tin. But you can use any tin you want, even if like a long loaf tin would work. But it is it's a very, very large cake. So if you're going to do smaller like tins, just maybe put it into two cake things. And it's really beautiful as well, even just in a round cake tin. I know people who layer it up and do it like a birthday cake and put the buttercream and things on top, and it turns out beautiful. But yeah, I'll just show you again the cake in case you've just jumped on. So we're making marble cake. You can see the marble effect. And that's only half the cake. So I've just cut it in half, and you can see how big it would take up that whole plate usually. So it's a pretty big cake. So then I'm just going to show you what this mixture looks like once it's blended up. Let's have a look at it. So it might just need a couple more seconds. So what I might do is just give it a little bit more push down and just blend it for maybe another 5 seconds. So you just got to make sure it's blended properly because you're going to be pouring this one into your tin. Give it 5 more seconds on speed 5. All right, just 5 more seconds, guys. If you're there with me, just maybe comment so we know that you're there and say hi. Oh, this is beautiful. Now let me show you this. Beautiful, seeds, blended. I'm going to pour that into my tin now. Let's see if I can do this here. Let's see if I can set this up so you can see it. All right, you should be able to see that. So I'm pouring the white batter for the marble cake into the tin. Now you're going to pour most of it, but you've got to leave a tiny bit to make the chocolate part. And most of it goes in. I'll show you in the end how much I leave. Now don't leave too much, because if you leave too much, the cake will end up being dry, because the chocolate bit's supposed to be a little bit more crunchy. That's what gives you the crunchy top of the cake. So really only a little bit's supposed to be left. All right, let me show you this now. Okay, that's how much I've got left. See, not very much at all, okay? You only want a little bit so that you can create that chocolate topping, okay? And then that's just the marble cake so far, just the white part of the cake. Doesn't look anything fancy yet, but let me show you what I'm gonna do. Now, I've added in here, I'm adding to where the white mixture was, I'm adding 20 grams of cocoa, 30 grams of icing sugar, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, okay? Because this is going to give a little bit of the crispy top. It's just going to make it rise a little bit more, and then it's just going to, that's what's going to seep through the cake to make that beautiful color. I've got a funny story to tell you in a minute too about it, so hang in there. All right, so this gets blended for 15 seconds on speed 5, and then I'll scrape it down and do another 5 seconds on speed 5. You've got to scrape this down because the cocoa just goes everywhere, and then it'll become dry if you don't mix it properly. So let's mix this down. And you can use the same spatula, you don't have to watch it or anything, because like I said, it's going to be a marble cake, so it's nice to have any of that marble effect. It all just blends together in the end anyway. Okay, another 5 seconds, and then I'll show you the next part. While it's mixing, I'm just going to grab a knife, because this is how I'm going to do the marble effect, okay? So let me show you. See if you can still see this bundt tin, hopefully. Okay, so that's the chocolate layer. Hopefully you can see that. Now, I'm just going to put little blobs all over the cake. I'll show you before I do it. Let me just get it all out of the Thermomix first. So it's not very much. You can leave more if you want, but I just find if you leave too much chocolate, like if you left half of it with chocolate for this layer, it becomes too dry because you're adding all the icing sugar and you're adding the, and that gives it the crunchiness. And you really only want that on top. You don't want that throughout the cake, otherwise it becomes a bit dry, the cake. And if you do it properly, this cake is so moist and beautiful. I'm just going to put it back on just to get what's left off the blades. So you just need a second just to flick it all off. I'm getting it everywhere. A little bit of a messy cook. But I've had people who say to me, oh, I can't bake, and they come back to me after they try this recipe, obviously, because they've got a Thermomix now, and they say to me, oh my God, it turned out amazing. And I'm like, yep, see, you can bake now. So if you were not a baker, this is the cake for you. It's so easy. And now you've got a video, so you've got absolutely no excuse not to make it, because it's so easy and it's really not a hard cake to make, but it's still an impressive cake because of the marbling effect and things. So, let me show you this. Okay, now I'm going to show you a couple different things. This is what it just looks like at the moment, okay? So it looks a little bit plain, a little bit stupid, really. You can leave all that chocolate on top if you want to get like a deep, because that will sink because it's heavy. So you can just do like a slight, like whiz like this, and that'll be enough for it to create some effect on top. But I always like just to put a bit of the white layer, just like this. It's hard to video and talk at the same time. And you don't have to do too much, because remember, it's going to sink. So you don't want it all to sink down the bottom. And that's enough. And that's going to create a beautiful layer on top for you to have your cake. And that's it. Now that goes in the oven for about 40 to 50 minutes. Depending on your oven, it might even take maybe a little bit longer. But just make sure the skewer comes out clean, and then you're good to go. That's as easy as it is. Again, it was a marble cake. That's how the cake looks like. I've got a funny story to tell you here. So I usually use cocoa, and today I don't know what happened, but my label fell off my containers. And this one in this cake is actually cinnamon. So there you go, guys. If you don't have cocoa, cinnamon works as well, and it absolutely tastes beautiful. So swap it up if you can't have cocoa. It's a good hack. See, sometimes mistakes turn out to be a good mistake. Yeah, I hope that you like that cake, and if you try it, make sure you let me know. We've got a great group that you can share it in. I'll share the link in the comments so you can join the group, and make sure you let us know how you go. All right, guys, thanks for jumping on. We'll chat to you soon. Bye.